Good evening. Good evening to everybody. I am Brigadier S.M. Sharma, who retired as Commandant from Indian Army from a military hospital, and I served as a medical officer, then as a surgeon, then a classified specialist surgery after being graded and classified, and then as senior advisor, surgery and orthopedics. And I had a staff appointment in a command headquarters and retired as a commandant subsequently. And before becoming a surgeon, I was doing staff duties also, and had the great honor of working with the engineer regiment, one of the engineer regiments, number of infantry battalions in the Gurkha regiment on temporary duty, and so many other units. Participated in numerous exercises, adventure patrols, Op Make Route, Op Vijay, and other operations, and a long stint in Northeast also. My tenure in Indian Army was a wonderful and a great tenure, like of which I think if I look back in my previous births also, I don't think I would have such a tenure before or in future too. When I retired from Indian Army, now I was very nicely placed after retirement in a very good job as a faculty in a medical college, postgraduate institute, the postgraduate department, of course. I was something like fish out of water. I was not reconciled. I was just totally out of my wits, really, because I was so habituated, used to. The great Indian Army was nothing greater would have occurred to my life than to serve in Indian Army. I also had an opportunity to participate in so many exercises and joint exercises with the Air Force. I still remember as a young medical officer, I had exercise bars in Vayushastra, of course, no doubt about, long time back. It is such a glorious service, unimaginable. I am sure that such a tenure, such a great life, which is test of your physical and mental strength, posting on high altitude, it filled my joy with ecstasy, because the army is very closely linked professionally to hard work, physical strength, mental stamina, and the nature. The best part of my service was that I was an outdoor kind of a person, which is spent almost, I came to my room, before marriage, you call it a room, only when, only to sleep. It was a full of work for a medical officer, endless number of patients, and you see that. As a medical officer also, we were doing in a medical battalion initially. You had to do run, you had to PT, you have BPT, PPT, all kind of things. Games also. And of course, mess life is fantastic. Mess life in those days were really great. So that kind of exposure with hard work, lots of work, physical exercise, which I am extremely fond of, adventure patrols, all other ranges, on high altitude snow-covered ranges, with the infantry battalion, infantry officers. It's really, I am telling you, there's nothing to beat it. And I have still not reconciled to that kind of a life. And in my dreams, I still find myself going around the military units and putting on military uniform. So such was my liking, like the fish likes the water. Really, as is, you can say light is to the sun. Anyway, that's beside the point. But we're in a different situation after retirement. Things are totally and absolutely different. It's a contrast. It was a cultural shock after serving in Indian Army for a long time and to get adjusted in civil atmosphere where the people were not trained, who are different kind of people. It's really something you can say is, I will say that, unacceptable. It's really unacceptable after serving a great Indian army to get adjusted with our brothers and sisters of not the family but as countrymen as such. Anyway, I like to tell you something about, we still keep on going to some of the military units. Sometimes we are invited also. I would like to see here on YouTubes and things like that. This Indian Army is a very great institution. It has been great since thousands of years. Indians have been fighting to invaders from outside more than 2,300 years back with the Greeks and all kinds of people. Alexander, and then you know the history, the Mauryan Empire, then the Pushmitra Shunga ruled, who saved India for almost more than 200 years. His clan, Shunga Empire, Shunga dynasty, followed by Kanwa, then Kushan emperors, then Gupta Empire, and then followed by medieval time after the collapse of Harshvardhan dynasty, economic collapse because of excessive charity in fighting in India. What I'm trying to say is Indian Army's job from not from recent times, but since several centuries. We have seen the 1857 uprising. We have seen the conflicts within our own self. We have seen the invaders coming here, who were given a good kind of a match also. First World War, Second World War, and after independence, so many wars which we have shown our mettle. India has a very strong system of regimentation, regiment system. You have Gurkha regiment, you have Naga regiment, you have Kumaon regiment, Garhwal regiment, Sikh regiment, Maratha light infantry, things like that, and so on and so forth. What I'm trying to say is, Indian Army is a very, very strong army. But I'm seeing, because I keep on analyzing things, keep on going around and seeing, for various reasons, sometimes visiting hospitals and things like that. As I was telling you, we have a very strong regimental system. We have arms and services. Arms are directly involved in fighting, like infantry, armor, signal regiments, artillery, and services like AMC, ASC, OC, and things like that. All of the services, I was part of AMC. It has given such a human service to the families of Jawans, the injured Jawans, and even the civilians, that in border areas we have been assisting, operating upon civilians during thaw, after, during the war, Kargil war and otherwise. And peacetime, of course, no doubt about it. We help civilians also, Ops Bhavna we call it. What is really very painful, what we listen to the media these days, is that some of the people, disgruntled soldiers, coming on YouTube and things like that, putting on fake people, fake soldiers and fake uniforms and fake incidents which have never occurred, trying to create a wedge, a difference between army officers and the Jawans. This I have seen. I would definitely like to say is that there's something has gone wrong. The wrong is that our enemies, our neighbors, they are quite pretty sure now they are no match for Indian Army. So therefore, what they're trying to find out, this is my observation, going around to hospitals and things like that, and seeing the conduct of people in services in uniform, the attitude, not putting on caps, spitting, and showing disrespect to their officers. There's some kind of element. This is not an Indian trait. My strong suspicion is that lots of people, the fake citizens with fake papers, fake identities, have managed to get into Indian armed forces, particularly the services. You have seen recently there was a comment that few of the people have been caught. They were putting on uniforms, so they were not soldiers. So therefore, what is happening around is there is a silent undercurrent of a kind of an attempt to create a wedge between the officers and the men, with the fake charges and fake episodes and things like that. I can tell you this much: I was a commandant of the hospital. Throughout our life, we were helping. What for we are in there in our army? As a medical officer, surgeons and physicians, for Jawans, for their families, for their children, for the wounded. There have been days and nights that together we have not been able to sleep. We were working in a very, very busy hospitals during war, during battles, during peace times also, doing our professional duties and simultaneously performing the military duties also. All kind of jobs we have to do. Like you be a duty officer in the daylight times, you have to do PT parade and BPT and things like that. You have to go to the firing range. Then you have to do the court of inquiry and summary of evidence and things like that. All kind of duties, the accounting. Then you have to officiate as CO or commandant like that, and then permanent for this thing. You have to go to the staff appointments also. What am I entering? It's a great and good image of Indian Army. Being solid, I have a very strong suspicion that some unwanted elements have definitely or certainly, my suspicions have entered Indian Army. And that's why we see the undercurrent of dissatisfaction being and organized in a systematic manner to create a kind of dissatisfaction and lack of respect to each other, and particularly to the superior officers. This must be looked into. And I believe those people who are getting recruited, they must be thoroughly investigated and checked. However, this kind of a problem is unlikely to happen or occur for recruitment into arms, like infantry regiments. They are pure regiments, so therefore it's difficult for outsider to intrude and crack it and get himself planted. But in services, of course, things can be manipulated. So therefore, it is the foremost duty of the CEO of the unit and the officers of the unit to see carefully the Johns and impress them, guide them, teach them, indoctrinate them for a disciplined conduct and behavior within and outside the unit. People don't demand outside that the soldiers should be subjected to some kind of a subjugation. But the fact is that basic conduct towards fellow senior officers and fellow Jawans has to be appropriate and good. Second point I would like to say is that what we gather is that we are people are increasingly getting involved in paperwork. They should stop. If you want to buy something, you have to make a statement of the case. First, you have to make a proposal. Then you have the introduction. Then justification of the case. Then detailed justification of the case. Then the conclusion and summary. That our job. I remember the amount of work we had to do. You have to do PT in the morning. You have to do all kind of military duties in daytime, do planning, exercises, movements, and presentations, etc. In the evening, you have to play games with our people. That I found lately when I retired, there's a lot of paperwork on which is undesirable. In some of the armies, this paper is who's keeping us busy. I believe the army should be rescued from the clutches of civilian authority, which are forcing us, which are stealing our valuable time from our normal military duties to this clerical and paperwork. Not done. Next, I would like to say is that physical status. When I retired, the age of 59 years, AMC, the retiring age is definitely much more than the others' arms. Even the last date I was doing the PT. And a discipline. It is a discipline, tapasya, to maintain your physique and body in order. It is our first and foremost duty. Even whether it's a Jawan, or officer, or JCO, we must be in a very fit state. So we should be in a very good health. Next, I would like to say is that there are just a microscopic minority is there which are avoiding posting to high altitude field area. This I have seen as a very strong observation, or they manage to get themselves downgraded, low medical category. I shouldn't be talking to the people whom I want to listen to this thing, because of the endless time you write, nothing happens. So therefore, what I want to say is There has to be the system of posting in armed forces is very good, no doubt about it. But still, few people, they manage to somehow go into low medical category and avoid field posting. Though I'm telling you this thing, one must be prepared to go anywhere on which is demanded and required and supposed to go. That however this thing should be looked into. That how come a person who has not gone to the field area, who are barely putting 2 medals here, there are only 2 ribbons, just 2, A2, P2 category, and he retires as a Lieutenant General. How is this possible? This I'm talking about service. Infantry, in any case, person cannot avoid going to the field area. I have seen general officers, peacetime soldiers, having 2 medals here. What does it speak of? This speaks of some kind of a favoritism. If you have connections, you get 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. But a person who's in a field area, you will give him 5. So therefore, a person who is working in a hard field area, op area, he must have an edge over a gentleman who's, getting himself posted in Delhi, Calcutta, Bombay, Delhi, Pune. This is not right. These peacetime soldiers have become lieutenant generals, which is absolutely wrong. I'm talking about services. You are doing great injustice to the people who have been living. I've spent years and years, 3 posts in high altitude. No regrets, but it was a God-given opportunity for me to be with nature, to work for my country during war and otherwise, and working for the civilian population, our brothers and sisters, our children in field area, remote areas. Another thing I would like to say is that our interaction is excellent. I would just like to say that our junior officers, our jawans, they should be treated like we treat our younger members of our family. If they're doing something, we sometimes reprimand them and take them off. But at the same time, they should be managed and treated as we treat our own family members. That's another thing. An officer is supposed to live or live by honest means. I especially use honest means. Army is an honest organization. But a few cases, few things are there we have observed, which is not right. Honesty is honesty. People, when I was commandant, were in an important position, people came with funny ideas, asking what are your requirements and like that. So I had to take them off. Said you are talking to a wrong person. So we must inculcate a feeling, attitude, and a habit of being totally honest. It should be cultivated if one is not. But somehow, a person is truthful or honest or not. It is a matter of inheritance also, plus how you are brought up. Another thing is a fair and a just conduct. This kind of attitude, the favoritism in the matters of postings and ACRs, this clannish attitude in armed forces is uncalled for and is a primitive tribal attitude. I have seen many people, they see what name ABC, this is his caste or whatever it is, he belongs to my biradari, one particular community. They are known for this thing, that they will give 9 out of 10 for their own clannish chaps. This is very bad. One must understand the merits and demerits of an officer. Please do not do unnecessary favor to any particular person, because if you indulge such an act, being a superior officer, you are harming genuine good officers. This is rampant and must stop. But I have already told you, I have observed during my command appointment, as a staff appointment, Because all technical reports will come to me for EMC officers. And the guy is giving 9 marks to his own. It is a kind of a indirect understanding. The fellow has not seen who that officer is. But just because he can make out by his subcaste or caste, something like that. But I'm very glad most of the people, most of the officers, like you say, I shouldn't be using the region south. They don't indulge in such kind of things. They see the merit. The problem is somewhere around Delhi and around. These guys have harmed Indian Army by their discriminatory attitude towards capable and merited people and given preference to their useless officers. And they made it. So army leadership has to be in very strong hands, honest, sincere, faithful, have an exemplary professional conduct. This kind of a attitude of favoritism, I wanted to expose it. And I feel very touchy about it because many great careers have been destroyed by this attitude of favoritism and out of turn advancement to the people who belong to your community. Not done. Finally, I would like to say in the armed forces, which is a very strong army, we must recruit more and more people from border areas because they know the terrain better, they are in a better position to counter the enemies. And also, we are hearing recently the talk of diluting the regimental system. It is fraught with danger. It will introduce politics into army, and also it will create dissensions and bad blood. That means, suppose there is a regiment A belonging to a particular region, and you are trying to push in people from your own different region, so it will create some kind of a problem. So therefore, regimental system is a very good system. Keep its sanctity and do not try to push in politics into the Indian Army. Finally, I would like to say that one must look into the fact that as a superior officer or as a junior officer, we are not spending too much of money for useless pursuits. You should try to economize on the things, and the COs of the unit, the officers, like I used to do, please go to the Jawan's mess, JCO's mess, get the things changed over there, I managed it, and eat food with them at least once in a week. And finally, I would like to say, when a senior officers they visit, please go to the remote areas, but not by choppers, by route land. One of the staff appointment in the command headquarters, I was visiting forward areas beyond Tawang, Glimta and all those places. It was snowing. Still I said I will not go back. I went into details and I found our preparedness in our area. Those shelters were moving around with the air just because we are not going by road. So the road from Maratha grounds from Tawang right to Klimta and Bumla, Klimta, and down to the Madhuri Lake. In such a bad shape that if war breaks out in those days, I'm talking about somewhere around 2006 or so. How we do, how we take our logistics, how we take arms, ammunitions, how are we going to evacuate the patients, how are we going to take logistics, and what I mean to say, the people who manage the borders, roads, I have something to say about it. Things which should, say where you're supposed to keep the patients, how do you operate them because power generation is not there, the generator is not there. So anyway, these are small things I would not like to make it. Now things have improved. I had made a list of it, I have made a full statement of it, I had made my tour notes also. I thought it much better because you keep on writing, nothing happens. So therefore, I am airing my views here. And finally, I like to say this: nothing like Indian Army's greatest army. It's a very strong army. We have to, plug minor leaks. And you go to our hospitals, what a wonderful people, how they serve. Really, I go to the hospital, how our boys are serving us, how our doctors are treating us. They are overworked at times in some of the places. Fantastic. And all the best wishes. And pray our Indian Army is freed from the clutches of people who are disruptive elements and putting up the legs and keeping Indian Army busy in making, statement of cases and trying to sabotage it or whatever it is. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.